Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Anomaly. This is the $5 Journey YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me for another video. I wanted to talk about real estate actually today. Just briefly, I know I always say briefly and it ends up going on forever. But this should be pretty brief. I just want to introduce the idea of real estate as a investment tool. There was a mention of that in the book, The $5 Journey, and I just wanted to, really just really kind of add a sprinkle of seasoning in regarding real estate. All right, now I know probably a lot of you guys have heard about real estate, and there can be some negative things. People hear negative things about it. People hear positive things about it. There's all kinds of different things out there. Sometimes when people think of real estate, you think, oh man, this is something so expensive. It'll never be the case for me. I only make, I don't know, fill in the blank, how much you make per week or per month or per whatever, per year. And sometimes we think that real estate ownership, real estate investing is something that is not only foreign, but is completely unattainable for us based off of our finances, based off of our time, based off of whatever. So, we have all those excuses in place, and I too was like that at one point. I think one of the things that really helped me to dispel that kind of excuse in my everyday thought process was the fact that my father was actually a really big influence, and he said, we can actually purchase real estate without too much money out of pocket. Now, when I first bought my first piece of real estate, it was, I was 19 years old, actually. I had a little bit of money coming in, but really I was in college, so I was pretty broke for the most part. I was able to actually purchase my first 3-family house with maybe I had about maybe $500, $600 out of pocket when I actually purchased the house. Now, here's the thing. Once I purchased the 3-family house, I was able to get in a cash flow. Now, each apartment, let's see, I think it was it was it was 1 2-bedroom apartment and then 2 3-bedroom apartments. And each one had an eat-in kitchen. They also had a dining room and that sort of thing, a living room, of course. They had their separate heaters and that sort of thing. When I purchased it, I was able to pay the mortgage with one of the might as well say the rent roll from 1.5 apartments. So I was getting $600 on one, and then I was getting $750 on the other 2 each. So that was $1,500 plus $600, so that was $2,100. Well, my mortgage was really only a little bit over $700. Okay, so that left me with about, maybe about $1,400, maybe $1,300 after you count water and that whole thing. It left me with about $1,200, $1,300 after expenses and all that other stuff. So I automatically, by the age of 19, I saw a cash flow of approximately $1,200 a month coming in. That's after all the expenses are paid and everything. And from that point on, I said, okay, well, real estate is obviously something that I can really, really do for myself. It is something that is very much attainable. The only limitations that I really have are limitations that I put on myself. Okay, and that's, as you guys know who've read the $5 Journey, that really you understand that it's a mindset. What the $5 journey does is it offers strategies to help you get over those limitations, or get beyond those limitations, get beyond those barriers, right? So that's really what the case is for, that I found early on for real estate, and what I'd really like to, share with all of you guys who watch the videos, who read the different posts that I put up, who read the book, of course. Okay, now one of the thing so the moral of that story is that you don't need to be some high roller, or some sort of guru on real estate, or someone who has this overabundance of money or something like that to get into real estate. Honestly, you can really get into real estate with very, very little money, and there are tons and tons of videos and books out on YouTube in regards to that. So I don't want to duplicate those kinds of things. I really appreciate everybody who looks at the $5 Journey channel, and read the book and all this other stuff, but I don't want to duplicate other people's efforts like that. Now, if you have any specific questions, of course, talk to me about it. But really what I wanted to just dive into real quick is some of what you can do to build up for your first purchase, for your first house purchase. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they say, okay, well, I'm going to save up some money, and then I'm going to go out and buy this, really good house. And what they do, they may save up the money, maybe they don't, but let's say that they save up the money. What happens is they'll save up money, and then they'll go out and they'll buy a single family house. All right. And then they'll go and live in the house. So the problem with that is, it's great to have, to be able to purchase a house, and it's great that you have a place to live in. Part of the problem with that, though, is that it is not necessarily generating you any kind of income, right? It's not generating any sort of cash flow. Yeah, you have it, but you most likely got a mortgage on it, and you most likely have to pay on that mortgage. So let's say you are making, let's say you're making $2,000 a month, right? And the mortgage that you have to pay is $1,000 a month for, that's your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, that kind of stuff. So you have to pay $1,000 a month. So really what you've done is you now have taken $1,000 a month out of circulation, out of your pay, to pay for this expense. Now, of course, you hope that the worth of your real estate, of your house, increases, that kind of thing, which probably would. There seems to be an overall trend upwards as far as, like how much something's, how much some real estate is worth. So in other words, if you buy something, in 1990 for, $100,000, then in 2018, it's probably going to be worth whatever, maybe twice that amount, maybe 3 times that amount, depending on what market you're at. But generally speaking, real estate tends to increase in value, which is what we hope for. But what about the here and now? What about your ongoing cash flow? What about what you can actually do? And so that's really what I want to talk about. So one of the mistakes is saving up your money and then using it to purchase a one family house that is not generating any extra revenue for you, but is actually pulling away from a revenue stream that's already there. Okay, so one of the things that I want to suggest is with real estate is that you get a 2-family house, 3-family house, a multiple unit property, 4-family, 5-family, whatever, 20-family, if that's what the case is. If you are going to get a single family, there's nothing wrong with getting a single family, but I would not suggest that you buy a single family for the sake of just living in it if you don't have any additional cash flow other than your job. Now it's different if you have, very wealthy people, what they do is they have several streams of income coming in. So they can go out and they could buy, the new Lamborghini, or they can buy the new Mercedes, or they can buy the new Range Rover, and they can buy a mansion, they could buy a really big house, obviously single family, and not really worry about anything, because one of their streams of income is going towards purchasing that. And then, the stream of income is not only is it not completely depleted by the purchase, but they're able to purchase that and then also still use that same stream of income, which is only one of their many streams of income, to go off and do other things with, all right, and generate other streams of income. So really, a lot of times what really wealthy people do is they may have several streams of income, but each one of those streams of income goes off and exponentially increases their income by each stream of income going off and breaking off and becoming several other streams of income. Okay, so it's like a tree that has many branches, and you have those main branches on a tree, and then when you get to the end of the tree, you have the different smaller branches that break off. That's how it is with a lot of wealth. Until you get to that point, you may you need to really look at your investment strategy in a particular way. So again, if you buy a single family house, cool. But then what's the income stream? What's a revenue stream? What's a cash flow that you'll be able to get from it? Okay, because you're not getting any cash flow if you just live in it and that's it. Now, one thing that you can do is, if you have a single family house, and let's say it's like 4 bedrooms or something like that, maybe a finished basement, you can possibly Airbnb out the basement, and you can live in one of the bedrooms, and then you could rent out the other few bedrooms, and boom, you have you possibly, depends on how much your mortgage and everything will be, but now you have possibly created a scenario where you have not depleted from your funds, but you have added to your funds. Maybe those funds are paying for the full mortgage, and then maybe you have some left over, or they're just kind of paying for the mortgage, and that's pretty much it, which is also, it's not bad, because you've now gained an asset, right? Potential asset, and the asset hopefully is increasing in value, and you're not having to take from your current revenue stream to pay into that asset. Okay, so I would say that that's probably an okay scenario. But one of the things that I recommend is getting something multifamily. Okay, multifamily properties. There was one of the stories in the book, spoke about someone who purchased a 4-family house. He had built up enough extra money coming from he was taking pictures for BPO companies, broker price opinion companies. He used that money, put it in mutual funds, had it grow, kept putting it in, and then he was able to save up enough, so he put a down payment on multifamily property. He actually lived in one of the units and then rented out the other 3 units. And so he was able to continue to build. Actually, I actually spoke to him not too long ago, because when I started writing the book and everything, that was in September of 2017. But since then, I've actually spoken to him, and he's actually onto his 3rd property, okay, which is also a multifamily house. But you see how, one thing can lead to another. And so now he has a few different cash flows coming in. He has cash flows coming in. Well, he's getting ready to close on his 3rd piece of property, but he has 2 pieces of property. He has a side hustle, right? He has, of course, his regular job that he's still working, but he has all those things that are bringing him in that extra revenue, okay, that extra income. Now, he does have mortgages on the 2 pieces of property that he currently has, and he will have a mortgage on this next piece of property. But let's say his mortgage is $1,500 a month, or let's say it's $2,000 a month, but he's bringing in, $3,000 a month or $3,500 a month. He's bringing in a decent amount more than what he has to pay out. So his overall net after expenses, after income, is he's in the green. He's in what they say in the black. So he's actually gaining money based off of it. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, well, John, you've spoken about real estate. We already know that real estate is something that, we want to get into, but you know, it just seems so expensive, seems so costly. Okay, so here's one thing. Now, if you get an FHA loan, okay, an FHA loan gives you 96.5% of the value of the house. All right, so if you have a house, if you see a house that, you know, maybe you can pick up for, let's say, $100,000, okay, FHA will pay 96,500 of that amount, right? And so you'd have to worry about saving up $3,500, which would be the difference between that 96,500 and the $100,000 purchase price, right? So you can actually do that. There are a lot of different ways. There's hard money lenders. Hard money lenders can give up to maybe 90% of the money that's needed to purchase a house and to pay for the closing costs. There are also private money lenders that can do pretty much the same thing. So in those cases, you may have to come up with 10, maybe 15%. But they also supply, a lot of them supply 100% of the financing if there are repairs needed for the house. So you could conceivably get a house for $50,000, $60,000 that needs, you know, $20,000, $30,000 worth of work, and you say, hey, Anomaly, you spoke about this, but how in the world would I get the money to pay for the repairs? Right? I have the down payment money for a $50,000 house or a $60,000 house. I was able to save it up, right? But I don't have $20,000 or $30,000 to pay for the damages, the repairs that are necessary to get the house up and running, right? So how would I do that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because a lot of private money lenders and a lot of hard money lenders pay 100% of the financing costs for the reparation, for the repairs of the property. So you can actually go that route, okay? In which case that, if it was a situation where it was a $50,000 house, you would have to possibly come up with, let's say, 10%, all right, which would be $5,000. So they would pay $45,000, you would pay $5,000, and let's say the repair costs were $20,000. They would pay for all $20,000. So you can do something like that also. So there are a bunch of different ways. There are also people who, what they do is they rent an apartment. Okay, maybe you're currently renting. I don't know what your situation is now. You can rent an apartment. Let's say you have a 1-bedroom, right? It's just you, or it's you and your wife, or you and a roommate or something. I don't know, whatever. Right? And you have a 1-bedroom. Well, what I encourage you to do is go out and get a 2-bedroom, go out and get a 3-bedroom. Will it be more expensive? Probably. Get one in a decent area of whatever town you're in, okay? Now, it'll be more money, but what you're going to do is you're going to either Airbnb the other bedrooms out, or you're just going to rent them out, okay? And so what that will do is, all right, let's use a scenario, because what that will do is it'll pay your rent, and then the money that you were using for your rent, you can now go into invest in something else. You can put in mutual funds. You can do whatever. Remember, $5 a day, right? Or you can do $50 a day, or however much a day. But it will free up some money so that you can then go and invest in something else, such as real estate, right? So, let's take an example. Let's say you're paying $1,000 a month for rent. I don't know where you live. Maybe it might be $500, $600, but let's just say $1,000. Let's use some easy figures to realize. Okay, you're paying $1,000 a month for rent. Okay, your income is $2,000. All right, so $1,000 of your income every month has to go towards rent, and then you're left with another $1,000 to do whatever. Right? So, let's say you move into. Let's say you say, okay, I read this whole $5 journey, and I listened to Anomaly. I'm ready to do this. I'm tired of the excuses. I want to start making my money work for itself. I want to be that investor, right? And so what you do is you say, okay, well, I'm going to get let's say a 3-bedroom apartment, right? I'm going to stay in one of the bedrooms, and then I'm going to rent out the other 2 bedrooms, or I'm going to Airbnb out the other 2 bedrooms. Okay, so let's look at the scenario if you rent them out. All right. Now, if you rent them out, all right, let's say you rent them out at, you're paying $1,000. Let's say you rent it out at $500 each, right? $500 for 1 bedroom, $500 for the other bedroom. So that's an additional $1,000 a month, right? So that $1,000 a month, pays for your rent. Now, also with a roommate situation, they contribute towards the utilities, towards electric, towards the heat, towards, you know, whatever, maybe the cleaning supplies or something like that. So not only are you getting money that will pay for the rent, but you're also getting money that will pay for the general, you know, the cable bill, the phone bill, whatever else. You're getting that kind of money also. All right. So what you've now done is now you've freed up that money so that you can use into something else. So let's say in the case where, you know, you have two roommates each paying $500, right? So that's $1,000. That offsets the rent that you're paying of $1,000, right? So now you have an extra $1,000 every single month. Okay, you've been able to actually generate an extra $1,000, okay, because of that situation. All right, but let's say you move into, if you move into a 3-bedroom, it's probably not, and you were paying $1,000 for a 1-bedroom, maybe you're going to be paying $1,300 or $1,400 for that 3-bedroom. Okay, so let's use that. I'm sorry, I messed up with the numbers. Okay, so even still, let's say you're paying $400 extra per month. So you're paying $1,400. They're paying you $1,000 and they're paying you $500 and $500. Okay. All right, that's still fine. Okay, it may not cover the full amount because now your rent is $1,400, but that means that if they're paying $1,000 of that, right, and you're paying $400, right, that means that you are still left with $600 of free money, right, that you were not left with before. So you have that $600. You guys understand the math. So you have the $600 that you can just do stuff with. All right, $600 when you break it down by, you know, for 30 days in a month, that's $20 extra a day that you can be putting in investing, right? Now imagine you're growing that $20 a day in a mutual fund, growing and growing and growing, right? So after a while, let's say it's $600. Let's say you don't put it in a mutual fund. Let's say you put it under your mattress. All right, $600 over the course of a year is $7,200, right? So $7,200, and let's say you're doing that for a couple of years, right? Let's say you do that for 2-3 years, right? So now you're at a situation where after 3 years, you have $21,000 saved up. You can use that to put down on another investment property. Okay, so I'm not saying that you abandon your apartment. I'm saying that you can stay there because a lot of times, you know, maybe it's just a good financial move for you to stay there for a little while. But now you have money freed up that you can go and invest in, say, a 3-family or a 2-family or a 4-family house, right? And get in and generate that income. Okay, and then you take that income and then you go and you invest in other stuff. All right, so that's one way of doing this. So let's just summarize. You have an apartment, okay? It's a 1-bedroom, or maybe it's a 2-bedroom. I don't know. Whatever your situation is, you move into a place with more bedrooms, right? Where you are allowed to sublet, okay? If you so choose. Okay, so you move into a place, you increase the number of bedrooms that you have. You rent out the spare bedrooms. You don't fill them up with your junk. You don't, you know, whatever you were doing before, you stick to the amount of bedrooms that you were using before. You're just expanding. So now you can put customers into those rooms, right? You can put roommates or apartment mates into those rooms. You charge them, you generate extra money. Okay, you take the extra money that you're generating and you put that into some sort of financial vehicle. Remember, you have mutual funds, you have REITs, you have stock, you have cryptocurrency, you have even annuities. You know, you have all those different things. You can put it into a business. If you know a business, maybe a piece of a business or a portion of a business, you could put it in that. You know, you put it in something where your money is not just stagnant, but it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. You get to a certain point and you take that chunk of money and now you put it into maybe another piece of real estate, right? Where you're going to see your money grow even more exponentially, right? Now, that money is growing in that other piece of real estate. Meanwhile, at the ranch, you still have that money coming in from the roommates that you've had in. So you're putting that money into the mutual fund or the REIT or the annuity or the whatever. You're still putting that money in, and then you take that and you put it to something else. So now you have all these different streams of income coming in. After maybe about 4 years, 5 years, remember, it's not a sprint, it's a journey. After about 4 years or 5 years, you have maybe 3-4 different streams of income coming in. Okay, and that's how you do it. That's how you build wealth. That's how you create wealth. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. I'm sorry about the numbers that I messed up before, but I think you guys get the basic picture. You start off with one amount of, in your apartment, or, I don't know, even in your house, whatever. Let's say you have a single family house, you can do pretty much the same thing. You want to be able to utilize that extra space, as maybe a room rental or 2 room rentals, or if you have a garage, that maybe it's a 2-car garage or something like that. Or maybe it's a 1-car garage and you can just park in the driveway. You can park on the side of the street, and whatever and you could rent that garage out. You're gonna take that extra money from those rentals, and you're gonna use it in your financial vehicle, so it can grow and grow and grow and grow. And then you're going to invest it in some real estate. Okay, so there are many different kinds of real estate that you can invest in. I'm not going to go into that in this video. There are tons of videos out on YouTube about that. There's tons of books about that. I just want you to get up off your butt, stop making excuses, stop justifying complacency. Get out there and just make it happen, okay? Continue the hustle, continue to progress, and continue that $5 per day journey, all right? Thanks. Until next time. Talk to you soon.